I can't hear anything. Is anyone speaking now?
Yes, so we're just about to begin with the opening statement.
Oh, okay, cool.
On behalf of Entrepreneurship Development Cell of St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, I welcome you all to this virtual workshop on communication and soft skills, featuring the renowned speaker and LinkedIn top mentoring and leadership voice, Mr. Vivek Khandelwal. It is truly an honor to have all of you join us today for this insightful and transformative event. In today's rapidly evolving professional landscape, effective communication and soft skills are no longer just optional assets, but they are the very foundation upon which successful careers and harmonious workplaces are built. So, we are privileged to have Mr. Vivek Khandelwal as our keynote speaker for this workshop. With his extensive expertise in mentoring career aspirants and workplace professionals, he brings a wealth of knowledge and insights that are bound to leave a lasting impact on all of us. Throughout today's workshop, we will delve into the intricacies of effective communication and the development of soft skills that can empower us to excel in our professional journeys. As we embark on this learning journey, let us take full advantage of this virtual platform to connect, collaborate, and absorb the wisdom that Mr. Khandelwal has to offer. Without further ado, sir, the virtual stage is all yours, and we are eagerly waiting for your insights and wisdom. Thank you, and let's make this workshop a remarkable and transformative experience for all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Manasvi and the entire team at EDC SXC. Super excited and super delighted this morning. How excited are you guys? I would like to know that one word. Please start putting that one word in the chat box. What is it that you are feeling? Let me see what you're tracking parallelly, what's happening on YouTube. Please keep me posted here. I'll be super excited to know if there are any questions, any comments that are flowing in there. So let me see, what are your thoughts? What is it that you people are excited about? Will I be able to see the comments here on Zoom, or will it come to YouTube directly? Yeah, so Yash says thrilled to learn. Awesome, Yash. Manasvi says super excited, brilliant. Same is the case here as well, Manasvi. And I would also like to express my entire gratitude to the EDC SXC team, Palak Daga, who has been coordinating, obviously, with the entire team here. So super excited here to now kickstart the entire discussion. So what exactly is the power of communication skills, and how can soft skills really empower you? So soft skills is no longer really soft skills for me, by the way. They are really the power skills for you, because gone are the days when you just had hard skills, which means your technical knowledge, your specific domain knowledge, which could actually give the right boost to your career. But today you need a lot more than that. Now, why is it that we really need a lot more than that? That's exactly that's exactly the set of steps that we are going to delve deeper into in the next 1 hour. The next probably 1 hour or so is really going to be a roller coaster ride. So if you have your notepads and pen ready, please do make notes for yourself, because everything is going to be relative. How you relate things to yourself is going to bring the entire game, is going to bring the entire change into you as an individual. So before and after the session, you should figure out the difference for yourself, saying, okay, what are the set of things that I would like to draw from this particular engagement? And if this session is going to be of any value, the credit for that upfront goes to you, because you are the set of people who are going to make this session thrive. You are the set of people who are going to bring questions, bring anecdotes, bring analogies, bring your experiences alive for everyone to benefit from. So quickly checking, I hope my voice is fine. Is anything, any feedback from your side? Happy to accommodate. Is it all good? Are there any suggestions, ideas, changes?
So nothing as of now, sir.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Yash, for that participation. Brilliant. Okay, so with this, let me just start quickly with a very simple thought, and that simple thought is new beginnings. Why do I really, want to start this particular session with new beginnings? Because everything has actually become new after the pandemic. Probably sooner or later, people will forget the pandemic, but people will not forget what the pandemic has taught us. Pandemic actually has brought 10 years of growth in just flat 2 years. Pandemic has brought humongous degree of change in the way we think, the way we behave, the mindset with which we operate. Now, while I'm talking about all of these things, what's really important for each one of us to understand is, do we really have the degree of resilience which today's workplace typically demands? If I may ask, what kind of year or educational years that you guys are studying in? Is it first year, second year, final year, or some of you are already graduates? Please start putting your thoughts in the comment box. Let me just understand what is the stage of your educational life that you are currently in. I'm super excited to just know. First year, Gaurav is from first year, Divyam first year, Ira first year, awesome. Drishti is first year. Okay, someone said second year, Vatsal first year, Dhruv Jhunjhunwala first year, lovely, Harsh Tlangia first year. So brilliant. Thank you so much for that active participation. I'm loving this audience already. You guys are bringing in tremendous degree of energy, loving it. So you need to have the right degree of resilience. अब कोई मेरे से पूछे कि यार resilience का क्या मतलब है? What is the meaning of resilience? Resilience is every time that there's a fall, do you really have the ability to rise as against that fall? Now, this is true equally in every walk of life. You look at the life of a sportsman. What happens to a sportsman? India today is rising and shining in the Asian Games. Why? Because India has created historic records in the Asian Games. Now, if you look at it, was all of this thinkable till a couple of years ago? Probably, I would say that was $1 million question. But then, thanks to the power of resilience, thanks to that belief, and that's the starting point, guys, having that simple belief saying, I'm here to change my game. Whatever walk of life that you are in, whatever program that you're studying at St. Xavier's College or from any other college that you might be attending this session from, what is it that you would like to do? Nothing comes easy. And for you to change your game, what's very important is, do you really understand what your current situations are? If you understand what your current situations are, you will then be in a position to say, can I become a bit better by tomorrow? Can I become a little bit better by day after tomorrow? And that begins that actually kickstarts a fabulous journey of what lies ahead of you. So coming back to the entire perspective of where we started from, which is resilience, you have to have that mindset to say that, okay, I don't understand something, but I am willing to learn. I am willing to have that change of mindset to discover opportunities for my own future. And to discover opportunities, which means to walk into non-linear path, not to walk in the same linear path. And gone are the days when people used to take traditional careers. Today, people want to try a variety of different things. And with each of these trials, what happens? There are setbacks, there are challenges, there's reservations. Family has a variety of different perspectives saying, तुम्हारे पापा ने ये किया, दादाजी ने ये किया, बड़े भाई ये कर रहे हैं, दीदी ये कर रही है. Why is it that you want to do this, something like this? So all of those things you will have to face. But having said that, how are you really going to face that? That is where your resilience comes in, because family is always going to be important. Are you going to say that, no, if my family is saying this, I'm going to do this? Even if you do that, you'll always have that feeling in your mind saying, okay, how can I take my family alongside with me in my journey of growth? That's where it holds paramount importance. So there is a very age-old adage which always talks about the fact that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means how things have really happened in the past, they will have no degree of control of how things are really going to happen in future, which means our ways of working have to evolve. The way we think has to evolve. The way we communicate has to evolve. And the moment we talk about communication, guys, the entire scheme and schema of communication has changed completely. It has changed 360 degree. And during the course of this session, we're going to discuss multiple examples to bring some of those elements alive. So the moment we say that, what has really happened during the period of the pandemic, the regular ways of working have changed. The way colleges used to run has changed. Colleges which were operating purely on physical format has changed. They have all become digital. Colleges which hardly had any social media presence today are thriving on social media. Today, you and me are able to meet together with each other thanks to this powerful online platform. However, having said that, there was very, very minuscule percentage of this degree of work that actually used to happen prior to the pandemic. So with this, what has really happened, the educational system has changed, has got flipped upside down. The moment we say the educational system has got flipped upside down, what does it really mean? I am operating from the city of Mumbai. You are from the city of Calcutta, wherever you are typically from. What is happening is you and me are able to exchange ideas, thoughts, and that's exactly what's going to happen when you enter the workplace. That's exactly what's going to happen when you start your own gigs, when you work as a freelancer, when you work for different organizations. You might end up doing an internship project in different parts of the world. So all of those things actually are possible or have been possible thanks to this entire perspective of education that has changed. And this change has happened not just for you and me to survive, but for us to thrive, for us to be part of the new world. I'm sure each one of you must be using ChatGPT, must be using a variety of different AI tools and techniques. And every time that you use that, what typically happens? While you're getting a lot of shortcut, but what we are leaving behind on all those shortcuts is the art and science of how you can bring those elements alive into yourself while you're presenting your finest self to other individuals, while you're presenting your finest self in different set of forums. And that's exactly what holds a lot of value. So where does all this leads us elements, which is one is how aware are you about yourself? Are you someone who is open to imbibing variety of different perspectives, variety of different thoughts? And that's where the world of diversity and inclusion has gained immense degree of momentum, because you got to work with different set of people. And when you work with different set of people, what happens? There is diversity of thoughts, diversity of opinions. आपने कुछ सोचा, सामने वाले individual ने वो reject कर दिया. No, yes, this is not possible. No, Vedanshi, this is not possible. I think your ideas are not really working. Someone will say, oh, Ishita, you have a great idea. Someone will say, oh, Dhruv, I've never really thought about this dimension. So all of these things are really possible because you start to develop a voice of your own. And how do you really develop a voice of your own? When you start to inculcate the degree of self-belief, which actually comes into you through the power of communication, through the power of soft skills. And I typically call them power skills, because you actually power them into yourself by virtue of your habits, by virtue of the kind of practices that you develop into yourself. So these kind of aspects, and that's where the power of attitude comes in. Everyone talks about कि attitude आपका अच्छा होना चाहिए, but what exactly does it mean? So attitude for me is something as simple as how normal are you as an individual, and you are not showing aggressiveness, you are not showing any degree of superiority. You are allowing your E to go, which means the way you talk to a school principal and the way you talk to the security guard of your college, it's similar. You treat them as human beings. Yes, obviously the principal, their decorums and all of those things which you have to follow. But I'm saying prima facie, they both are human beings, isn't it? So it's important that you respect them with equal degree, because these are the kind of challenges which will come when you enter the workplace environment. These are the kind of challenges that will keep posing at you, that will keep hitting at you time and again, not once, but umpteen number of times. So any superiority needs to go away, and that's where your humbleness is going to play a key role. So as I said, your E has to go. So one is the perspective that you have gained something. Second is, after you've gained something, are you really going to implement? So today we are going to discuss variety of different techniques and variety of different examples of what you have learned, how you can from you or understand from you what is it that you're really going to draw from this and actually implement them into your own life. When people say that you got to have empathy and not sympathy, what happens is the moment you have empathy in your mindset, you start to relate to other individuals basis a situation that they are into. And the moment you look at people with sympathy, you are sympathizing with them to say that, okay, he is a poor chap, what will he be able to do? But the moment you empathize with them, you start to uplift them. You start to think of them from a perspective that actually you start to relate to them at their core. And this is one of the most important power skills that today workplaces are talking about. Why is it that leaders across the world today are talking about empathy? Because one of the key reasons why empathy has gained immense momentum is because empathy helps to relate humans with humans. Empathy helps to relate individuals as they are, irrespective of the designation, financial background, or anything that they come from. It doesn't mean that एक individual को अंग्रेजी आती है कि नहीं आती. It doesn't mean that an individual is able to express in English, Hindi, or his or her regional language. What's important is how good that individual really is. Is that individual really able to add value at its core? Those are the set of things that really adds value at a very, very foundational level. And then there is a very important thing, which is power of I, power of individual. Now, each one of you, right from you, Shrestha, Pradyum, Arihant, Hiten, each one of you have your own individual power, because your power is the power of taking initiative. Every time that you take different initiatives, and all of you are currently studying in college, so you can really understand that the college ecosystem gives you umpteen number of such opportunities. The moment you inculcate that as a culture, now let me tell you, this is one of the most required skill for you to rise and shine in any workplace that you are part of. Because the moment you start taking initiative, you actually become someone who is not reactive. You actually end up becoming someone who is really, really proactive in nature. You want to take ownership. You want to engage with different set of people. You want to bring the best foot forward. You want to uplift people. You want to talk positivity. You start looking at things from the positive lenses. All of those things are fundamental differences of how you typically start to present yourself, right? So taking initiative is actually a very, very crucial step, and because it gives you a great booster for you to rise in life. And the moment you get a taste of taking initiative, then let me tell you, there's no looking back in life. Because the moment you start taking initiative, you get a different taste, you get a different flavor, and then you actually start to become a contributor. The moment you become a contributor, you always want to be a giver. And someone who is a giver also attracts so much more in abundance. Let's not forget that. So if you take it, what really happens, you create an impact, guys. But impact on whom? Not just on yourself, but also on umpteen number of other people. You create an impact as a student, you create an impact as a working professional, not just on yourself, but in your entire ecosystem. So that's really the power. So let me take a quick pause here. I've been on a monologue. Is everyone enjoying this session so far? Just type loving it if you guys are loving it. You want me to lower down my speed? Are there any questions? Are you able to understand where I'm coming from? Is it all good so far? Dhruv says Josh is high. Absolutely, the Josh is always high. Pradyum loving it. Krish loving it. Great energy. Hiten says thank you so much, Dhruv Jujunwala. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Keep it flowing. Yeah, कोई कुछ कह रहा है? Please बोलिए.
There's a few questions coming into the chat box.
Yeah.
Would you be able to answer those right now?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Vedanshi.
So the first question is, what strategies can students employ to give and receive constructive feedback gracefully? Because a lot of us don't take feedback in a good way. So what can we do? So see,
one of the most important art and science of receiving feedback is being a good listener. Vedanshi, what happens is, who has asked this question? If I can take the name of that individual.
So it was in the YouTube chat box.
Okay, that's fine. If you don't have a name handy, that's fine. So what's very, very important, so to that YouTube listener, whosoever is listening, if you're able to listen and understand the other perspective very well, what will really happen is you will start to look at the perspective of the other individual. Where is it that he or she is really coming in from? They must have observed something into you over a period of time. First of all, you should be filled with gratitude कि कोई आपको feedback देने के लिए तो तैयार है. Because receiving authentic feedback, let me tell you, it's worth $1 million. Because a lot of people, they want to make you feel good. But if someone is able to give you constructive feedback to say that Vedanshi, you are like this, but you can perform better, or Ishita, you are like this, but if you just change this twist, Ishita, probably you can do better. Keshav, this is the kind of work that I loved about you. Would you like to try it this way? Or Ronak, I love the way you dealt with the entire audience. So these are some simple things. But then the moment constructive feedback comes in, the first approach that people a lot of times have is defensive approach. अरे मैंने तो अच्छा किया था, मेरे सारे friends ने मुझे appreciate किया. Why is it that this individual is criticizing me? No, the individual isn't really criticizing you. The individual is a well-wisher for you, but then also be mindful what kind of constructive feedback it is. because giving and receiving feedback both are art and a science. A lot of times people will give you negative feedback, people will bully you, people will speak bad about you. You should never take those things to heart, because let me tell you, you have to first fall in self-love. Only when you love yourself will you hit other people from variety of different lenses. I hope that answers the question. Vedanshi, are there any other questions at this stage? Or would you like me to proceed further?
Yes, sir. Thank you for such an insightful answer. The next question is, can you share some practical tips for overcoming nervousness or stage fright when speaking in public, especially in high-pressure corporate situations? Because most of us entering college, we're part of seminars and we have to speak, and a lot of us have stage fright and we don't know how to handle that.
Oh, okay. So, one of the classic things that I always recommend when it comes to stage fright, speaking in public, holding the mic, and then you see when you hold the mic, there are hundreds and thousands of people, maybe 100, 200, 500,000, 2,000, depending upon whether it's your college fest or it's a classroom presentation, or probably, a visiting faculty or a guest has come in and you have been assigned the different tasks. So the starting point for all of these things is start from wherever you are. Start from wherever you are. If you are able to get an opportunity, opportunity to do volunteering and taking up free classes for a government school or anywhere, or social or NGO anywhere, start from there. Don't hesitate. The moment you start taking up these initiatives, and I'm sure your college, or even if someone has joined in from YouTube and they are raising this question, whichever college that you are part of, there must be a variety of different, social organizations, maybe like Rotaract, Interact, Leo Lions, Leo Club, and Toastmasters. Be part of such organizations, because when you're part of such organizations, what happens is you get umpteen number of such a point. Start once. Let me give you my own example, guys. My early years have been an introvert. I was an introvert, and what actually changed my life is me moving into the world of volunteering. And guess what? At some point in time, I became president of a Leo club, because I am born brought up in Calcutta. I am from the city of joy. So what really happened is, me joining a Leo club, working tirelessly in the Leo club, gradually rising to the position of becoming a president. Since then, there's never been looking back for me. For over 3 odd decades, I have been actively giving back to the community in so many different ways. And it has uplifted my life in so many ways. So my suggestion to each one of you, whosoever is having this concern, saying, "Main kaise present karu? Will other individuals be judging me? Will I be able to do it? What if I really fail? What if I start fumbling? What if I suddenly move from English to Hindi?" Guys, let me tell you, nothing is going to happen. You will do it once, you will overcome it. And trust me, the worst that you do, reach out to me. I'll be there to uplift you, to say that, wow, you've taken that first attempt. So if there's no one else, I'm there for you to support you in whatever ways that I can. And let me tell you, it's not just me, it's also your own ecosystem. Have those set of people in your life who are always there to uplift you in so many different ways. Howsoever you are, whatever background that you come from, when you are in the midst of right people, they are always there to share their own journeys and also help you grow in your own journey. So the starting point is to just start. That's about it. That's the starting point. Vedanshi, any other questions, or should I just move ahead?
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking answer. You can move ahead now.
Okay, awesome. So the third important point here is being self-aware. हम में से कितने को actually पता है कि यार हम खुद के बारे में जानते हैं, because, and that's where you see this entire image that I'm trying to show you is the image of a mirror. This is intentional, because when you look at yourself in a mirror, what happens is every day we do that, right? But that is from a beauty angle. What if you actually look beyond beauty? And if you start to look at yourself saying, am I really aware of who I am? What are my qualities? What makes me special? What are the kind of aspects that I typically do every single day that will help me to grow in my life? So if when you ask these kind of questions, what happens? So there are a variety of different things that starts to happen. So say, for example, someone who has never ever done any volunteering, take that first step, make your hands dirty. मान लो अभी Environment Day का initiative है, which happens in the month of June, or any such initiative that happens in your college or in any ecosystem. Just go make your books lift karni hai, you have to be part of any initiative, do that. Because then you get to understand who you really are. You get to understand and discover yourself a bit better. Always be open to learning new things. Don't hesitate. See, we all know there's so much of buzz happening with respect to reskilling, with respect to upskilling. All that is great. All that is brilliant. But kare kaise? Karne ka sabse bada important point ye hai that what is it that you want to learn? Okay, you don't have to really do something because another friend of yours is doing. You don't have to do a chartered accountant because another friend is doing. You don't have to pursue CS because someone in your family is doing. You don't have to pursue CFA because there's a good faculty. No, do something because you like it. Do something because you enjoy it. Do something because it'll bring the finest side out of you. So that is what it means when it comes to learning new things, because also boosting yourself in terms of your skills, because you are then going to mention and talk about it in your resume. And when you talk about it in your resume, and just guess what? If it's Suryam who is mentioning this in his resume, and if Gaurav is the interviewer, Gaurav will say, Suryam, would you like to share something about this? Suryam will say, yeah, I can talk tons about it. So here are a few of the examples. Suryam, will I be right if I say that?
Definitely so.
Okay, awesome. So keep engaging with new people, because a lot of times we start to judge people basis the kind of economic, financial, social background that they come from. No, not really. Look at some of the finest leaders in the world. Did they have all the wealth that was available in that country? No, not really, right? So treat people as humans and not, start judging them basis the material things that they possess. Material things are important. No one is saying no, but you will end up learning through their wisdom. So bring a new perspective, bring a new dimension in your own life, and you start to meet and engage with new people. Always keep being the mode of exploration. The next important skill for you, which is really, really powerful and which is super duper important, is your CQ, which is your curiosity quotient. And that's where comes the world of inquisitiveness. So inquisitiveness is something which is to say that, a couple of minutes ago when Vedanshi was asking this question, which someone had asked on YouTube, that hame, corporate world mein presentation dena hai, whatever we want to do, how do we really do that? One of the finest ways, guys, that one can really do that effectively is just by being curious, asking questions, understanding, saying, see, if you don't know something, and when you say you don't know, you actually don't become weak. You actually become much stronger when you say that you don't know. When you don't know and when you say yes, that is where there's a bigger challenge. The bigger challenge is not when you say you don't know. The bigger challenge is when you exactly do the opposite. So you have to become mindfully aware that what is it that I'm saying and what's the kind of impact that my responses are going to create. So just about being curious and asking these kind of questions that you actually see on the screen, saying, okay, why, what is it that we are doing and why is it that we are really doing this? So say, for example, you are doing this 360-degree workshop, right? So which is part of this EDC initiative. And I understand that this is part of the 360-degree workshop that you guys have this theme of. So there are tons of such initiatives that actually happens in your college ecosystem. So how many of you actually question to say that what is its purpose? Maybe some of you do, but all of you, are you really doing that? Are you willing to really understand saying to do them? Are you actually questioning the status quo? So a lot of times when people question the status quo, it is not to question just for the heck of it. It is to actually question to understand, saying, okay, let me just understand, can I really be a contributor to this? So asking those simple things, and there are so many different kind of things that you will actually be in a position to do the moment you enhance your curiosity quotient. So when you ask, you actually learn from others, and that's precisely what I was trying to say. So what it typically does is, when you do this effectively, the message that you actually land up with any recruiter, मान लो कल को आपको internship करनी हो, कहीं job लेना हो, चाहे वो कैलकाटा में हो, चाहे और कोई शहर में हो, या world के कोई भी कोने में हो. So what the recruiter is typically looking into you guys is, do you really have the right degree of willingness, and that's the screen. These three that actually drives the recruiter to look at you from that lens saying, wow, Palak is the girl who can actually end up working for our organization because she has the right aptitude. Or Kavya is the girl who has expressed great, willingness to learn. Or Trishleen Kaur is the girl who genuinely wants to improve because she has already taken up a project or whatever, based the kind of responses that Trishleen gives. So these are some simple aspects that can make tons of difference. Taking a quick pause now, guys. What is it that you are really feeling? Are you guys learning something? If you are learning something, just write 100% L in the chat box. 100% L, which means there's 100% learning happening. Just write that in the chat box. And if there are any questions at this stage, happy to answer your questions. And if it's less than 100%, let me know. I'm happy to have your feedback. And if there are any questions or anything that you haven't understood, although we have tons to cover, but happy to take a pause. If there are no questions, happy to move ahead. Thank you, guys. This is the real motivation for me. Your responses are a motivation. They are a booster for me that, yes, you are with me and I'm with you. Okay, moving on to the next one. The moment you think about soft skills, today there is no soft skill, guys, which can actually be without data centricity. Why do I really say? Now, someone might like to question this saying, HR mein kaun sa data hai? HR to human resources hai. But let me tell you, HR is also full of data. Why? Because you have to keep analyzing so many different aspects that it actually becomes about data. Marketing is about data. Sales historically has been about data. And different level. So if you have to think about a skill that will help you to communicate better, and why is everything linked to communication is because that is where your art and science of the manner in which you express yourself to different set of stakeholders typically comes in. So have that sense to understand varied data types. How do you really express what? So if there are tons of data, what is the kind of meaningful insight that you can draw from the data and present that to other people? That is the magic that you end up creating. The next perspective here is becoming behavior aware. We spoke about another awareness, and that was about self-awareness. But let me now bring another element for you, which is how aware about how aware are you about your own behavior? And the moment we talk about behavior, behavior is always contextual. So say, for example, when you are in your own college ecosystem, you behave in a certain manner. But the moment you go out to a different college, suppose tomorrow you end up participating in a variety of different competitions, those competitions take you to a different city or within your own city as well. Suppose there's a competition with Bhawanipur College, or there's a competition with, say, ISWBM, whatever may be the case or whatever may be the scenario. So what do you really do? What is the kind of behavior that you have? You have to remember and understand that you are always part of an ecosystem. How you behave can actually create an impact on so many different people alongside you yourself. So say, for example, let me pick up this particular example. Now, this is again a very, very important skill of problem solving. Everyone talks about it. The moment you search Google top skills, it'll say problem solving as one of the skill. Problem solving ka kya matlab hai? What kind of problem do you really solve? Now, let me bring this element alive for you. Suppose we are talking about a working professional. Okay, a working professional who has got a variety of different perspectives. So imagine yourself, picture yourself now for a moment, guys. You have joined a new workplace as an intern, or maybe as a full-time professional. You have joined new workplace of your interest. There's new project that comes your way, the variety of activities. You're actually feeling really, really overwhelmed. Ki main kya karu, main ye karu ya wo karu. There are tens of things and everything has got a timeline associated. You are missing out on your direction. And I'm sure a lot of you who are taking initiative in your college ecosystem, you must have faced these kind of scenarios, especially when it comes to Fest, where you have to collect sponsorships also. You have to go and meet so many stakeholders. You have to invite other colleges. You have to take care of those minuscule things. Ki bhai, advertising hui ki nahi hui, branding hui ki nahi hui, poster kaun se social media platform pe gaye, what's the kind of analytics that it has typically thrown. All of those are typically examples. And I'm not saying that these are limited just to this. This is just a small miniature example of a larger world. So what happens when it comes to problem solving? Being behavior aware is, do you have that ability to break down your problems into smaller parts? Do you have the ability where you can start to build prioritization for yourself, saying, okay, let me prioritize what is it that's important for me at this stage. The moment I start to prioritize, what will really happen is, basis my prioritization, I'll first give importance to what's really important and what are the initial steps that I want to do. So these are the kind of things that you will understand with your own behavior. Are you someone who gets stressed out very quickly? Or are you someone who practices the art and science of holistic wellness, which means meditation, yoga, taking care of, watching late night OTTs? Not discouraging, OTTs are not bad, they're awesome, but then everything comes at a cost. And the cost is that they actually end up a particular series episode at such a cliffhanger point that you feel like, chalo yaar, 10 minutes aur dekh lete hain. Agla kya episode mein kya aane wala? Let me just see what is that's really gonna come up. Maybe it'll be very interesting. So that's the cliffhanger point that they leave you into. So understanding yourself becomes extremely important. Now, here delving into a little bit more details into problem solving that I just spoke about. So I've already spoken about why it is important, but let me emphasize the importance that this is one of the key roles of all the leaders who are there on this call. So everyone who is here listening to me on Zoom or on YouTube, this is going to be one of your top-notch goals the moment you join any workplace, which means you got to understand saying, this is going to be my key role if I have to become a leader. So, and a lot of times when I ask this question saying, who considers himself or herself to be a leader, there are a variety of different responses. So let me ask this question here. How many of you consider yourself to be a leader? Write yes in the chat box if you do. Just write yes in leader. Okay, Nitya says yes, Drishti says yes. I can see Gaurav, Pradyum, Hiten, Akash, Suryam, Vedanshi. So all of you who are saying yes, that's awesome. But some of you who are not saying yes, or who are in that dilemma mindset, saying, do I really have it in me? Am I really a leader? Let me share with you that you actually are. Because every time that you play a role in your personal life, in your professional life, which is as a college student, you are playing a role of a leader. Every time that little ownership that you take up, that's the role of a leader. Every time that you communicate back in a proactive manner, that's the quality of a leader. Every time that you express empathy, that's the quality of a leader. Every time that you fulfill your commitment, that's the quality of a leader. So there are so many different perspectives of being a leader. So how do you typically solve problems? I've already spoken about it. How do you really approach any given problem? So I think I've already given that example, but let me just take up an example from HR. So if there are conflict that's happening between different team members, will you take a biased approach or will you take a non-biased approach? So while solving problem, extremely important is to be completely more focused you are on your goal and objective, better will the outcome really be. So what happens if you don't solve any problem? You continue to procrastinate, and every time, guys, that you procrastinate, there are larger consequences. So say, for example, what if I say for a moment that, you don't pay, so a student doesn't pay the college fees. College has already sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reminders. After that, one fine day, college will say, enough is enough, you are out. So that's the power of procrastination. But if you procrastinate a OTT series, there's no problem. You always have the choice to watch it after 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Nothing in life is going to change. So always be clear about the fact that what is it that you are really, procrastinating. So solving problems means following the logic of ideal. So what's the ideal approach to solving problems? Always look at solving problems in the form of solving puzzles. So embed it with the right elements of both logic as well as imagination, because the moment you involve both logic as well as imagination, what happens is you try to make the best sense of the situation. You may not be 100% right, and that's fine, but at least you're making sense of the situation, and that's what is extremely important here. Okay, let me move to the next. Diversity is being open to a variety of different thoughts. And this is how I typically started today's session. How open are you to understanding and imbibing the thoughts that are coming in from different set of people, from different stakeholders. So all of this leads to effective solution comes in because there are a variety of different challenges. And how do you really bring all of those things is when you work in a collaborative fashion, and when that collaborative fashion and that collaborative working actually forces you to think, it then has the potential to convert all of those challenges into opportunities that are truly meaningful. And when they become meaningful, what happens is you start to take business decisions. In your case, whether I call it business or I call it variety of different kind of decisions in the college ecosystem, because being part of the college ecosystem also means that you have to take a variety of different decisions. So this is the first phase. Before I move to the next phase, which is interpersonal skills and how these skills are deeply connected to communication, let me take a quick pause and also check with you. Are there any questions from you guys? Have you guys been enjoying learning this thing, or anything that I can address? And how much more time do I have?
Yes, sir. We have another question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since you spoke about problem solving,
yeah.
Now the questions is, what are the best practices for conflict resolution and managing difficult conversations?
See, conflict resolutions, the starting point of any conflict is to understand the viewpoints of both the stakeholders. Okay, so whenever there is conflict, so conflicts happen in different scenarios. When there are 5 people, when there are 5 different mindsets, there's every possibility that someone is overpowering, someone has a different viewpoint, someone feels that, okay, no, things has to happen this way, conflict will suddenly happen. And it happens in all possible ecosystem. It happens in a workplace, it happens in college ecosystem, it happens in your own personal home life as well. So the way you understand is, you first of all, you shed the point saying, okay, you are 100% right. The moment you shed the problem, you're giving the benefit of doubt to the other individual, that the other individual may be at least, if not more, at least 10% right. And if the individual is 10% right, you got to give importance to the other individual to understand, saying, okay, what is his or her viewpoint? How relatable that thing is with respect to the current situation. Is it ego that is coming to the forefront, or is it not ego, but a genuine conflict that involves multiple stakeholders? The more, see, a lot of times conflict may happen with 2 people, a lot of time conflicts may happen with 2 departments. And when departments are under conflict, you can't just sit with 20 people to solve the conflict. You have to sit with the key people to identify, understand, and break down the problem and look at resolving those conflicts by usage of right words, right tonality, right communication, by being together. And these communications ideally should happen face to face. They can happen virtually if people are working remotely, or they can happen in the same environment. But having a face-to-face engagement is extremely important to understand whether the other individual is able to relate or understand you. And if the individual is not multitasking and just listening to you for the heck of it. The moment you start doing that, what happens is, the moment you listen to another individual, the first and foremost things that happens is you actually normalize that individual. And the moment you normalize that individual, what happens is the individual's ability to relate to the current situation, to the past history, and what lies ahead becomes increasingly better. So that really actually becomes the foundation of resolving any kind of conflict, be it personal, be it professional, or be it in your college ecosystem as well, Vedanshi.
Thank you, sir, for such an educational and engaging response. We're really grateful for your very in-depth answers. So also we have 45 more minutes left for the session. So
okay, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much for that. So I'm moving now to the next leg, and the next leg is even super duper important. And this next leg is all about interpersonal skills. Why is it that interpersonal skills hold so much of importance? मेरा पहला सवाल तो ये है कि interpersonal skills का मतलब क्या होता है? So let me just quickly start reading your responses. What according to you is interpersonal skills? Okay, let me start reading your responses in the chat box. Start writing your responses in the chat box. Okay, keep it flowing, guys. Yeah, keep it flowing. Let me understand. So the ability to talk, all kinds of people. Okay, Yash says ability to talk. Okay, sure, Yash, I understand where you're coming from. That's nice. Okay, who else is writing? The speed of writing will give me the answers very quickly. And Vedanshi, if there are any responses coming in YouTube, you should share with me. Ability to communicate and resonate with people. Absolutely. I do understand. A skill used to communicate with people. Interactive power of an individual is what Suryam Goenka says. Karan Kyal, interactions and all sorts of things. Having power convincing skills. Dhruv Mata says. Dhruv Junjunwala, effectively understanding other. Okay, talking to other individuals, interacting with your peers. Rishabh Dugar says, nice. Yes, I completely relate to that. Ability to interact and build positive relations. Akshat. Okay, lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So thank you so much for that. Absolutely fantabulous responses. It is all leading into the same direction. And that's exactly what's very, very important. So these are your own authentic opinions. It all starts with how you relate and connect to other people. Be it in your personal life, be it in your professional life. And there's so many different ways to relate to other people. But one of the primary ways is the power of communication. A lot of times people say communication means speaking in Angrezi. Well, speaking in Angrezi is just a tiny part of communication, guys. Communication is a lot more powerful than communication. Even if I don't say any word now, and if I just use some actions, forget about me speaking. If I just use some actions, it conveys a meaning to you. Does it convey some meaning? Say yes in the chat box if you do agree to what I'm saying. Does it convey a certain meaning to you? It does, right? So you get a wavelength from an individual. You get to understand saying where the individual is coming in from and what is his perspective. So that is what is the meaning of interpersonal. As per research says that one of the biggest struggle for people to grow in their career is their lack of interpersonal skills, which means their ability to which can help them grow faster in their career is what they typically lack on. And because they lack on all of those things, that becomes a showstopper. So let's just break that entire myth. So is everyone ready? Just type ready in the chat box if you would like me to uncover the entire world of interpersonal skills for you. Just type ready in the chat box. Okay, ready. If people say ready, I am also equally ready. Thank you. So what are the skills that we use in our day-to-day life? And the moment I talk about skills, it is not just one. It is not just any one skill. I'll not be doing justice if I say, aapko khali yahi skill har din use karna hai. No, there's so many of them, which actually becomes part and parcel of our life every single day. And we have to relate and connect with those skills. Others relate and connect with us on all of those skills, right? So how do you really communicate and interact with others? So you communicate and interact with others both as individuals as well as in group settings. When you interact with others as individuals, it is you are introducing yourself to the others by the way you talk, by the way you present yourself, the kind of words that you use, your tonality, the kind of pauses that you take up. And even if you meet an unknown people, all that you need to talk about, the starting point is just making general observation about surroundings. So as part of this session, when you meet another colleague of yours today, whom you don't know, so a good point for you to start off is, oh, hey, how did you find today's session? So that's a great point, right? So other individual will start to talk about his or her opinion. Yeah, I found this aspect to be good, but okay, this is what I didn't like. I don't know, whatever you don't like, you can let me know later. I'll be happy to know. But if you like something, that becomes a starting point. If you don't like something, that becomes a starting point. But then what's very important is, what is it that the other individual feels? What is it that you are feeling? Your opinion is yours. The other individual's opinion is his or hers. That's fine. And let me also share with you that the opinions can be different. But when you, as part of interpersonal skills, what's also very important to strike the right relationship is when you're complimenting someone, compliment them genuinely. Never ever compliment in a fake fashion, because fake compliments actually will be seen through over a period of time. So say, for example, if I say, hey, Vedanshi, you did a great job by asking me these questions. So I'm genuinely complimenting Vedanshi. If I say, hey, team EDC, you guys did a great job in terms of the way you aligned the creatives, the way you supported Palak in terms of driving the entire thing. I don't know whosoever was doing the work, whether it's Palak or whether it's 5 different people, 10 different people, whosoever it was doing. So I'm genuinely extending my compliments to each one of you who is part of this ecosystem, because you have your own set of work to do every single day, your own set of educational classes, assignments, assignments, engagement with different people. Some of you must be thriving on variety of different social platforms and tons of such stuffs, right? But despite that, you have committed yourself to learn, because learning is extremely important and you want to learn from others' experiences. And everything that we are talking here today is not really theory. They are all practical aspects. Theory is just words saying, okay, individual. Now, this is not really a theory. All of us are typically individuals. So same thing applies even when you are in group settings. So I just wanted to highlight that as an important perspective. So before I move to the mantras, I would like to talk about what really are the challenges to interpersonal skills. There are tons of them. Now, the first challenge is people don't listen. So you are saying something, but the other individual is already calculating in his or her mind कि मेरे को क्या respond करना है. अरे भाई पहले सुन तो लो. पहले first try to understand and invite the other individual, saying what is it that the individual wants to talk about. The moment you have a mindset like that, guys, let me tell you, you have a mindset of success. You have the growth mindset, because when you listen people well, more than half the battle is already won, because you are then working to ensure that it's a win-win situation. You're not working just to react or respond to the other individual. So that's one of the foundation challenge when it comes to interpersonal skills. The next one is, a lot of times people are not able to articulate their thoughts clearly. Mind में इतनी सारी चीजें चल रही है, there are 10 different things. And should I ask this question? Should I ask that question? Okay, I want to ask this question, but मैं ये सवाल को ढंग से frame नहीं कर पा रहा. कैसे frame करूं? क्या करूं? Will I be able to express? What if I ask this question? What if my English is not good? So there are so many different thoughts that the individual's mind typically goes through. The third important point is what I actually shared right at the beginning, saying, do you really have empathy? आप जैसे अपने कॉलेज के प्रिंसिपल को, डीन को देखते हो, क्या आप उसी प्रकार do you look at the other people in the college ecosystem in the same fashion, with same degree of human respect? So having that respectful attitude is very important, and interpersonal skills actually helps you to showcase that in so many different ways, right? So I'll give you a classic example. Now, an example is the fact that I am, say, for example, if I say Harsh Chitlangia, or if I say Mukund Agarwal, the moment I take your name, don't you guys feel that I'm talking to you? Do you feel that I'm talking to you? Just write yes in the chat box. Just write 100 in the chat box for me to understand. Do you agree that you feel as if I'm talking to you, right? So that's an example of interpersonal skills. Now, has it always been there with me? Just like you, I have also built it over a period of time. If I can do it, I think you guys can 100% do it. You are much better. So that's another perspective. The fourth one is eye contact. When I'm talking to you, I'm trying to connect with you eye to eye. Even if we are in a virtual and through, you can see that, okay, my focus is on you. I want to engage with you. I want to interact with you. I want to be with you. And I want to share everything that I have with me with you. That's the power of eye contact. The next one is, a lot of times you are not expressive. We are in a group setting. 5 लोग हैं. एक जन ने political topic उठाया, एक जन ने Asian Games का topic उठाया, एक जन ने अपने remote village, अपने गांव के बारे में where they typically come from, वो topic उठाया. ऐसे करके लोग बात कर रहे हैं. And you are feeling saying, अच्छा, I don't know what is it that I can talk about. I'm not aware about where my village is. I've never even been there. But you got to understand that you have the knowledge. All that you need to do is just be part of that conversation. When you are there physically, be mindfully present there. You don't have to physically be there. Mindfully, you are actually in your gaming zone. Mindfully, you are there at Instagram. Mindfully, you are there thinking about a particular movie that you're going to watch at Forum Mall or XYZ malls, wherever you go to watch your movies, favorite movies. So it's important to be mindfully present where you are. The next point is, as you can see on the screen, is not judging people. I gave that example earlier on, right, guys? So you don't have to really judge people basis, what they wear, what kind of brands they possess. You have to understand people as humans. The moment you start to understand people as humans, let me tell you, your dimension about life is going to change 360 degree. Let me assure you, it's going to change 360 degree, but you got to practice it. Doesn't happen overnight. It will not happen overnight. Just like the way people haven't won these medals in Asian Games overnight, they have actually faced series of failures. Look at what happened to Neeraj when he won the first Olympic. Neeraj has had series of failures and he has won tons of medals earlier, but Olympic was always special, isn't it? So Olympic is Olympic. It was always special. So same thing applies. You will be in a position to do it only over a period of time. So don't get into judgments very quickly. And always be receptive to other people's thoughts and opinions. So when this question was asked from YouTube, I shared similar examples. So that's important. Now let me come to mantras. Now, why are those mantras holding so much of importance? So these mantras are here. So let me share with you about communication skills. So this entire session is communication, and I'm trying to bind everything connected to skills also with the power of communication, right? Because anything connected to skills are directly and indirectly connected to communication, because you have to express them in so many different ways. And communication is also about words not spoken, right? So communication skills in the most commonly understood terminology is when you express something, when you're sharing your thoughts without just beating around the bush. कि आपने बाकी सारी बातें तो कर ली, but actual communication के बारे में बात ही नहीं करी. Whatever you wanted to communicate, जो भी आपके mind में ideas, thoughts, जैसे for example, you're part of certain classes in your college ecosystem. There's a faculty who comes in, you ask a question, but that question is not connected to the class at all. You are asking about a different subject only. So what will other people think? What is it that is happening? This guy is asking a question, or this girl is asking a question which is not even connected to what the topic really is. So which is fine, but you just got to understand that a lot of times, even to reach the pertinent question, we just keep beating around the bush. So be specific, and that being specific takes time. It needs practice. Even if you don't have it today, it's fine. If you have it, you are already awesome, which is brilliant. So listen actively. We spoke about listening skills. Guys, I'll keep bringing up this point again and again in the larger interest, because these points are extremely important. So even if they are repetitive in nature, I will bring a different dimension to the same point, but understand and try to imbibe that. Make your own notes, right? I hope you understand that, Tanmay and Ronak. Tanmay, are you with me? Raise your hands. Tanmay Jain, Ronak Khetan, you're with me? Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, thanks. Okay, lovely. So the next point is paraphrasing. Now, what it typically means is, I have spoken something about communication skills, and if I say, Ronak, you have to phrase this in your own words. If Ronak gets an opportunity, that is what is paraphrasing. You get so many such opportunities in your college ecosystem, and every time that you paraphrase, just understand that simple thing, that it makes your own thoughts clearer in your mind, because you have understood them with so much of clarity, and that's the power. The next point when it comes to communication skills is anything that you're trying to frame it in such a professional manner, be it in terms of written text, and understand, saying, okay, am I framing it properly? Try to do a check for yourself, because every time that you do a check, it becomes part of your habit. And if it becomes part of your habit, what happens is you obviously over a period of time you start becoming much better than how you were, right? So another element under this is being positive in the worst of the situations. Yes, there will be failures, there will be challenges, there will be situations and scenarios which are going to be uncomfortable for you. Okay, you will be thrown in the water every time that you do something new, and even if you fail, it's okay. But what is really going to be appreciative about you is at least you've taken the effort. Isn't that brilliant? Guys, please write brilliant in the chat box, not for me, but for yourself. If you are now ready to face any challenge that comes in your life, to grow yourself, this brilliant belongs to you. This brilliant shows that each one of you who are part of this call, be it on Zoom or be it on YouTube, you guys are brilliant. Thank you so much for your active and thriving participation. Okay, once again, I bring in active listening. Now, obviously, as I said, needless to say that this has to be part of your routine practice. If you think that with your friends, you are actively participating in an engaging discussion, try to take a pause, listen to what the other individual has to say, and see what kind of magic you are able to create in that. Maybe the conversation is going to change completely, because the other side will start to look at you saying, hey, Drishti, what's wrong with you? You're listening without even responding to me today. You appear to be a different individual today. So those are the kind of responses, even if you don't hear them in words, the feeling will be there, seen in terms of expressions. The third important point is eye contact. I spoke about it earlier on. Whenever you're speaking to people, don't just start doing multitasking. So what if so you guys are able to see me. What if I'm talking to you, I start using my mobile phone. Acha, dikhte hai, kya kya hai? Okay, Instagram pe I've got this. No, that's not one of the finest practice. I just can't do that. I have to be with you in the moment. Forget about my phone. I will not be doing any multitasking. That's the power of eye contact, guys. Fourth important point is have control on your emotions. A lot of times when uncomfortable things comes your way, don't let it quickly become visible on your face. A lot of times people say that, okay, I always carry my emotions. But then the moment you become so emotional, first of all, is emotions bad? No, I'm not saying it's bad at all. It's awesome. But then when you become too emotional, you are giving an opportunity to the other individual to say that you are not really open to receiving feedbacks which are not in your own good interest. So a lot of times the other individual may get this feeling. So just be mindfully aware, saying, okay, what kind of reaction is going to create what kind of feeling? Having said that, even when you become emotional in your personal life, just see what's the kind of impact it's going to create in your family members. Master the art of saying no, because and I say this to every college grad, postgraduate students, and part of my mentees who are part of my ecosystem, who take up my long-term mentorship program, that you've got to learn the art and science of saying no a lot of times. Why it becomes important is your priority is your priority. A lot of times other individual may have different priority. So you first got to respect yourself. I'm not saying say no for the heck of it. But if you genuinely feel so, no, at this point in time, this I think is more important, do that. It's absolutely fine. Okay, so explore areas, join variety of different training programs, just like the way you guys have joined in here. So there are tons of programs, say, for example, when it comes to your overall well-being, holistic wellness, your spiritual quotient, your stress management, your mental wellness, team building, collaboration exercises, team management. So all of that will in a variety of different dimensions in your mind, and more such dimensions that comes in your mind, you will then be in a position to understand so many different facets about yourself. Participating in competitions is one of my favorite. When I was of your age, I'd once gone to IIM Ahmedabad, and I had, as part of a 3-member team, and because I had won that competition, I can't even express what the feeling really was. The feeling was I was like on top of the world. Hey man, I have come to IIM Ahmedabad and I've won this competition. Don't you guys have similar feelings when you go out of your own ecosystem to participate in different competition? There's that competitive spirit. There's that sense of enthusiasm that you want to learn different people, you want to meet different people, and you want to learn what their journey has really been. So those are some simple aspects that can add tons of different feelings. This is what I've written here, intra and inter college. Then working on your teamwork basics. So teamwork means accepting other people's opinions, being open, being receptive to other people's opinions. Teamwork means collaborating with others, knowing fully well that you may not really be right all the time, and that's absolutely fine. If you're not, if you're not right, if the moment you build into your mindset, right 100% of the time, the moment you inculcate that kind of a behavior in your mind, you are ready to rise in terms of your own success regime. Why? Because then your appetite, you start to build that as a muscle, guys. Then your appetite to accept other people's opinions increases significantly. You start to acknowledge efforts that other people typically go through. Keep your body language always positive. People who are attentive, people who are listening, be it in terms of any environment. So say, for example, let me give you a scenario. Picture this for yourself for a moment. Imagine that you have joined your place of work, whatever place of work that you may really have on your mind. And you have been invited in the boardroom meeting as a management trainee, as a trainee. And you have been advising, अच्छा, आपको notes बनाने हैं, and उसके बाद आपको summarize करके देना है. You have to send an email. Now, just imagine you are observing different set of people. You're observing their body language, how positive they are. You are observing those little comments that they are making. And just imagine, at that juncture, you realize, hey, this guy is so positive. Huh? He speaks with tremendous degree of energy. And look at this girl. Oh, this girl, she was always, throughout the time, she was criticizing. You start to making those kind of impressions in your mind. So if you guys have been able to picturize this particular scenario, can you relate this with one of your own college event or whatever you have grown with? Is this picture relatable? Just write R in the chat box if it's relatable. If you're able to relate and picturize yourself in that kind of a scenario, even if you have not joined any workplace, they are relatable, right? So yeah, so the entire point was just picture yourself, because a lot of times body language speaks tons to us. So as I said, communication is words not spoken. You don't even have to speak everything in words. Without even speaking, you'll be able to understand, right? So that's important. Show real interest. So real interest means you are genuinely interested in the other individual. You're not just interested just for the heck of it or on a transactional note. You're interested because you want to talk to them. You want to understand what their journey is. Where do they typically come from? What has been their background? What really gives them the kind of energy that they bring on board? The next one is focusing on variety of different opportunities. So your ecosystem will give you leadership opportunities because you'll participate in so many different events. It'll give you volunteering opportunities, and that's the reason you'll be in a position to helping others. It'll give you challenges, and that's where you will solve case studies, you'll do problem solving, you'll do critical thinking and variety of different aspects. So a quick point here is whatever is the challenge, they all need to be nurtured, which means how you treat yourself, similar fashion, you also got to treat others. Because when you treat others in the same fashion as you treat yourself, you create a kind of an image. So was these 10 mantras powerful? Just write powerful in the chat box if you found them powerful. And happy to take up any questions before I move to the next leg, depending upon the time available. Yes. So what are the kind of questions that are there? Harsh says powerful. Suryam says powerful. Dhruv, Arihant, Divyam. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Someone was saying something.
Yes, so there's a question in the YouTube chat box.
Yeah.
The question is, it's related to informal communication since the entire session is on communication. So, sir, how to control the overwhelming feeling of not messing up when you approach someone you respect or admire a lot?
Just be yourself, Vedanshi. You don't have to feel overwhelmed at all. See, when you become overwhelmed, overwhelming feeling starts to come when you start to form an image about yourself. Saying, like I gave the scenario, right? Material things create an impression in people's mind. उसके पास iPhone है, मेरे पास तो क्या? I have got a say for example XYZ phone worth 2,000. That's where you start to have that overwhelming feeling. Now this is while this is just a generic example, the same thing can happen in any environment. Saying, okay, that individual has got 10 degrees. I just have one. No, your one is awesome. Look at where you were. You didn't even have one. So today at least you have one. Be grateful. Have that feeling of gratitude for what you have today. So overwhelming feeling, one of the finest way is to just be yourself. You draw inspirations from others. That's absolutely awesome. When you draw inspirations from others, you're also empowering yourself that yes, I've drawn tons of inspiration. Can this energy help me to become better? And that help me to become better, that comparison has to be with my own self only. So which means if this YouTube comment, whosoever has written it, suppose XYZ person has written this comment, that comparison is with XYZ himself or herself. It can't be with Harsh, it can't be with Tanmay, it can't be with Ishita, it can't be with you, Vedanshi.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for your very thoughtful answer. There's another question. How important is body language in effective communication, and what are some tips for improving it?
So you've got on mute, Vedanshi. What are some tips to improve them? Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So body language is extremely of communication skills. Why body language is extremely important is, now picture this scenario yourself. You're studying in a class and announcement happens that, okay, X date, this particular speaker is going to come. Everyone should assemble in the auditorium, right? The speaker comes in, the speaker does the entire session just sitting on a sofa. Picture another scenario. The same speaker actually moves around the hall, talks to you, engages with you. Will there be a difference? Yes or no, guys? Will there be a difference between the two scenarios? If there's a difference, that difference is the difference that body language typically brings in. Because the person who engages a lot uses variety of different, attributes, including hand gestures, including eyes, body movements, the way the individual talks to people, the way the individual stands. So every single aspect of how, you are progressing in the discussion with another individual brings in terms of one of the foremost thing that I always recommend is always use gestures. So be it facial gestures, be it hand gestures, like the way you can see this twinkle, twinkle, little star, right? Like the way I'm talking twinkle, twinkle, little star, or say for that matter, relate and connect with people eye to eye. So meet them eye to eye, talk to them, understand their perspective, bring in relatability as part of the discussion, give them importance, use those little nudges saying, I understand, and talk to them. Even if you don't have an answer, you say, I don't really have an answer at this point in time. May I come back to you after the session? I'll figure out what's the right path to this and I'll come back to you. So these are some quick examples that one may really like to imbibe with Anshi.
So this was a very enriching response. I think a lot of our attendees will take something back from this session.
So do I have time? Do you want me to move to the next leg, or is it time for open, or do you want to have a separate time for question and answers as well? What is your thought?
No, so you can move on with the session. We will just have 1 or 2 questions in the end, and then we'll move on with the closing speeches.
So how much time do I have? Do I have 10 more minutes?
So we have 5 to 6 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so let me bring. Yeah, someone was saying something? No? Okay, cool. So let me bring this entire facet of communication in the workplace. So while I spoke about body language, let me go deeper into the body language, because it was any which ways part of the discussion today. So the entire face-to-face engagement that you do with individuals, what's the kind of feeling that you are leaving to the other individual? What is the kind of what are the kind of words that you have used? How you've used really those words? How you've really expressed yourself? All of those things are going to create a humongous degree of impact on the other individual. It plays a great role in terms of creating the perception also in the other individual, because the other individual actually gets to draw a lot of messages about who you are, what kind of personality you bring on board as part of your body language. Now, the variety of different components that I spoke about, once again, is the entire art and science connected to eye contact, because what eye contact typically does is it creates facial expressions. So the way you smile, the way you frown, or the way you scowl. So say, for example, if my eyebrows, suddenly if I talk like this, you look at the facial gestures makes a lot of difference. So eye contact has to be direct, it has to be powerful, and it has to be enriching, which means I'm feeling super excited while talking to you, something like that, right? And a lot of times this eye contact may also vary culture to culture, but we are speaking what typically happens in our culture. There are so many different kind of gestures that one may, really use as part of their body language. So one is fidgeting and restless and saying, oh, yeah, I'm really getting bored and stuff like that. So when you talk to a speaker, the moment you get that kind of a feeling, what happens is your own energy gets drained, saying, "Acha yaar, ye kya? I'm not really enjoying what's happening." However, just picture this the other way around. When the speaker is completely involved with you, when you are talking to the speaker, when you are able to engage with the speaker at so many levels, what happens is there's seamless alignment between the two stakeholders. When people are touching their nose, rubbing eyes, variety of different things, it actually disconnects. So gestures like this are classic examples of what happens in typical body language. So open stance, what happens is when I'm showing both my hands, and you can see both my hands, and I say, yeah, something like this. What really happens is you're able to get a wave of my body language. You're able to get saying, okay, I'm assertive, I'm confident, and I'm talking to you directly and stuff like that. So those are some of the little things that makes and creates tons of what happens is so as per research, you can see really these numbers which are there on the screen. So how does communication really brings in a huge degree of impact is 45%, guys, 45% is all about listening well. You are speaking something, the other individual is listening well. That's one of the most empowering forms of communication. 30% is speaking, then comes reading, then comes writing. Because a lot of times written communication, people tend to ignore, right? Saying, okay, itna lengthy likha hai, kaun padega, and stuff like that. So a typical communication always has this processing. There's a sender, like for example, here I am the sender, I'm transmitting the message and you are receiving. So how agile is my response and how seamless is my alignment with you for you to receive the same degree of communication can create a great degree of impact. So how is really the split? The split that you see is our body language actually speaks 55%. So to that YouTube user, you had asked this question. I hope this response really this for this particular discussion, that 55% of how we communicate is via our body language. How effective we are in terms of our body language, how we are really communicating, how we are really relating, what is our gestures, how our facial expressions really is. While this session is virtual, just picture yourself, what if this session would have been a physical session where I would have actually come to your college and I would have delivered this session. The engagement would have been at a completely different level, right? So virtual will always have those limitations and you can always draw the best out of those things. But the manner in which I use those words, the right degree of pauses, the peaks and valleys in my communication, all of that creates a very, very high degree of impact. And then finally comes listening. So listening is all about this art and science that you are reading on the screen, which is, first you're hearing, understanding, and absorbing the entire thoughts. The moment you absorb the thoughts properly, that's where you actually bring in the power of listening. And I would like to end this session by quoting Dale Carnegie. You got to be interesting by being interested. The more interested you are, the more interesting you actually end up becoming, and that is where your true power typically comes in. Yes, over to you guys, and happy to answer any other questions that you may really have. And if you guys have found, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Due to time constraints, we're only taking up one last question. In today's digital age, how do you recommend students balance face-to-face communication skills with virtual communication skills?
Be in the situation. So face-to-face and digital both will always have its relevance. What if you're engaging with someone who is based out of Dubai, who is based out of UK, US, say for example, Germany, any other part of the world? You have no choice, right? You have to engage with them virtually. But virtual has its own impact that you should not end up doing 5 different things at the same time. But when you're physically there with someone, you actually don't have a choice because you're talking to that individual at that point in time. However, inculcating that right habits into yourself, that you are with the individual, talking, understanding, absorbing his or her thoughts, and also sharing your thoughts equally, that is where the real merit of communication really lies. So that's my thought with respect to this particular thing, Vedanshi.
Thank you, sir. We'd like to express our gratitude to you for sharing your expertise in such an engaging manner and for taking your time to answer each of these questions in such depth. We shall now be moving on to the closing speeches.
So by the time you're getting onto the closing speech, my last response to all in the chat box. If you've enjoyed this session, if you've drawn meaningful output from the session, just type loved it and write what is it that you are taking away from this session. Yeah, keep it flowing. Ronak Khetan loved it. Priyashi Agarwal loved it. Yash Chandak loved it. Vedanshi, Yash, Sanvi, Dhruv, Vatsal, Nitya, great session. Raima, Harsh, Tanmay, Ira, Suryam, Ansh, Chirag, EDC. Okay, EDC to everyone. Yeah, Mudit, keep it flowing, guys. Thank you so much. So while you guys get into closing statement, I would like to leave you guys with 2-3 different thoughts for you that might just be helpful for you. One is, always be adaptable. Be prepared to adjust your own communication pattern depending upon whom you are speaking with. Develop the degree and art and science to be clear and concise. Avoid using too much of jargon a lot of times or technical language because, all of you are part of the Gen Z. Right. I have actively been working with Gen Z. Certain lingos comes naturally, and I understand that it will, right? Because that's part and parcel of your life. But when you engage with other people, you might just like to be a little more mindful, saying, okay, am I there? And then use technology effectively. There are a variety of communication tools and technologies to stay connected, but use it wisely. You should control technology instead of it being the other way around. Thank you so much.
As we conclude this remarkable speaker session, we have strong confidence that the insights shared today will prove valuable to all our participants. Mr. Khandelwal has undeniably illustrated the fundamental aspects of life, serving as a source of inspiration and motivating us to work harder and better in pursuit of our aspirations. On behalf of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell of St. Xavier's College, Autonomous, Kolkata, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Vivek Khandelwal for sharing his expansive knowledge and experience. It is an absolute honor and privilege to have the opportunity to host such a respected personality. Sir's willingness to take time out of his busy schedule to engage with our audience is a reflection of his commitment to nurturing and mentoring young minds for the corporate world ahead. A special mention to our respected principal, Reverend Dr. Father Dominic Savio, S.J., and Vice Principals, Reverend Dr. Father Joseph Kolendai, S.J., Reverend Dr. Father Peter Arokiam, S.J., and Professor Bertram da Silva for encouraging us to pursue greatness and live up to the great Xaverian reputation. I also thank our faculty advisor, Dr. Arup Kumar Mitra, for his leading supervision and support at every step. We extend our sincere thanks to all our attendees for their patience, active participation, and for posing such compelling questions. Lastly, I would like to express my profound appreciation to the members of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell for their invaluable support, timely assistance, and guidance. Your dedication and enthusiasm has made this workshop such a success. With this, we come to the end of our 360-degree workshop, a series of upskilling sessions delivered by seasoned experts. Over the past few days, we have embarked on a journey of growth and learning. We have also witnessed the power of knowledge and the importance of continuous growth. Gaining such new, enriching skills will surely help all participants to expand their horizons and aid in their overall personal development. We are grateful to our respected speakers for sharing their insights and expertise during the engaging sessions. Attendees, the short link to access both the credit sheet and quiz form will be shared in the YouTube chat box. So kindly first fill the sheet to avail the 4 hours of non-academic credits. For those interested in receiving e-certificates, please make sure to complete the quiz within 15 minutes. Once again, thank you all for tuning in with EDC. Have a pleasant day.
I just had one last point. I have shared in the chat box a Google link as well as another link for anyone who's interested to be part of a complimentary session connected to LinkedIn. Please enroll there. Happy to have you guys there. And do write your feedbacks in the links which has already been shared. I'm sure Palak will also share it separately with you guys. And just one last picture like this. If I can have a picture like this, if everyone can do like this, that'll be awesome. So can I have all the videos and cameras on? That'll be awesome if everyone can have this. So let me just capture this and I will. So I'm moving to the next screen. Let me see how many cameras are on. Well, the cameras are still getting on, but nevertheless, that's an awesome one. That's an awesome one. Thank you so much. Gratitude to the entire team of EDC, SXC, and to the entire authorities, management who were directly and indirectly involved. Gratitude to each one of you. Thank you so much for making my day so very special. God bless each one of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
I hope I can log off now. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, sir.